Yesterday we did product of powers, and we had to notice that you had the same base. What did you do to these exponents? Come on. What did you do to these exponents? You added, okay. Did quotient of powers. What did you do to these exponents? You had to subtract them. So that's yesterday. We're moving into power of a power today. So it's the third tab in the foldable. Alright, it's power of a power. This, instead of just looking at my base, I'm looking at this whole factor, this whole thing. How many times is 6 to the 4th power going to be a factor? 5 times. You got this exponent right out here to the side. So it means we want to see 6 to the 4th power as a factor 5 times. Alright, so we need 6 to the 4th power 5 times. Oop, and I wrote a 5. Once you have this, it looks just like what we did yesterday. I had the same base every single time. What would I have to do to all these exponents? Add them and put down here that this is 5 factors so we know why we wrote those. So I would keep my same base and I'd have to add all those 4's together. What's that going to equal? 20. You got it. I'm going to put it here. Looking at my original problem, which was 6 to the 4th power, all to the 5th power, what's an easier way to come up with 20? Alright, so that 4 times 5 would give you the 20. Slide over here to this one. 8 to the 4th power is going to be a factor how many times? So what can I do to these exponents? So instead of having to write out 8 to the 4th times 8 to the 4th times 8 to the 4th, 4 plus 4 plus 4 equals 12, but 4 times 3 just equals 12. So 8 to the 12th. On B, it'll be K to the what, Jenna? There it is. Okay, C takes it up just a notch. When you see all of this mess, my best suggestion is work from the inside out. That's what you have to do when you do order of operations anyway. You go from your innermost set of parentheses and you work out. And if I hide this, did you say 36? 3 to the 6th. Because how'd you get the 6? 2. So 3 times 2, 2 times 3 gives you 6. What's 6 times that other 2? 12. So this is 3 to the what power? Alright, you should have your sheet of paper out to do some U-tries. Alright, what does product even mean? It's the answer to a multiplication question. So look right here. If I hide these exponents, this says 3 times a squared. That's a product. So I have a product all raised to a power. Hence the name, power of a product. Alright, so this tells me that I have 3a squared is going to be a factor how many times? 5 times. Hold on, don't take away my thunder. I'm trying to get it all the way to the explaining, then I'll give you the shortcut. Hold on. Okay, once I have my 5 factors, do y'all remember the stuff we did yesterday? I would take my coefficients, which were the numbers in front of the variable, and group them together, and then group all my variables together the same. You even had some on your homework where you had to group the A's together, the B's together, if it helped to write them out. You didn't have to do it to get the answer, but it would help make the answer clearer. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put all my 3's, these coefficients, together. And how many of them should I have? Okay, and then I'm going to put all my a squareds together. We're going to rewrite it using exponents. So in other words, this is 3 to the what power? To the 5th power. I've got 5 of them. 3 is a factor 5 times, so 3 to the 5th power. A squared shows up 5 times also. So this breaks all the way down to the point where you can tell me what 3 to the 5th power is, and this should look familiar to you because we just did this example. The power of a power. So this would be a to the what power? So 3 to the 5th power is 243, and then a to the 10th power. Now look, that's a lot to go through, isn't it?
Yes.
There's a little bit of a shortcut. When you have this product all raised to a power, I call it like distributing the exponent. Everything inside the parentheses is going to get the exponent. So in other words, the 5th power, 3 is going to become to the 5th power. Isn't that what we have right here?
Yes.
The a squared is also going to become to the 5th power. Isn't that what we have right here?
Yes.
So it allows you to simplify it without having to actually write this down. This is the why you get your answer. This is the what you can do to save yourself some time. So let's practice to save yourself some time with a. It's the product of 4p cubed is a factor how many times? 4 times. So this exponent of 4 is going to come to the other 4. So this is 4 to the 4th power. And then p cubed is also to the 4th power. Figure out what 4 to the 4th power is. Let's practice. So this is 256 p to the what power? 12. How'd you get the 12? 4 times 3. So this is your final answer. Alright, let's look at B. I have a few more pieces to my product here. I have -2, m to the 7th, n to the 6th, and that whole product is raised to the 5th power, which means it is a factor how many times?
5.
Okay, so I have -2 to the 5th power, m to the 7th, all to the 5th power, n to the 6th, all to the 5th power. Alright, go ahead and see if you can do -2 to the 5th power. See a negative raised to an odd number, like an odd power, your answer is going to be negative. So it's -32. M is going to be to what powers? And N is to the, Corey? 30. That's your answer. Number 9. You should end up with, we're going to simplify the 8 squared, and B ends up being to the what power? 18. And what was 8 squared? 64. How'd we do on that? Yeah, we're okay?
Yeah.
It's the dump trucks when they dump a load of dirt out, the bangs back against it. Okay, so this is 6 to the 4th, x to the 20th, y to the... Did you figure out 6 to the 4th? What'd you get, Corey? 144?
No, because it ends up being 36 and 36.
Yeah, it ends up being 36 times 36.
I got 1,296.
And that's what you got? 1,000. So we'll leave it at 6 to the 4th if you...
Yeah, I thought I had it wrong. I was like, I can't be that.
Alright, this is -5 to the 3rd power, w to the 6th, z to the 24th, and I believe this is going to be negative, what, 125?
Yes.
Alright. We feeling pretty good? That leaves us with one more tab to go on our foldable, which we'll cover tomorrow, and your testing Friday.
That'll be easy, right?
Over all of it?
Zero and
Over all of this.
Will you zero just leave zero?
No, can I tell you tomorrow?
Four.
It's not zero.
It's not zero?
No.
Zero?
Alright, hang on. Control Alt S.
Wanna watch the video?
Yeah, can we
I don't
watch
know
the
if it
video?
stopped. Hang on.
How many minutes do we have? You have to do it at the same time.
I did do it at the same time.
And then you always do yours in class,
Hmm.
Yeah, for like the rest of the year.
No, I'm sorry, you always do yours in class.
This is still recording.